Alberta is becoming a ridiculous place to be if you want to use a little hyperbole to express your political frustration. Say you're blowing off a little steam and you mockingly chant "lock her up" about the premier on a cold December day with, I don't know, like a few thousand of your friends. Well, then be prepared to be scolded by every living Canadian politician, left or right, and the entire mainstream media for like 2 weeks. You'll be a sexist alt-right monster by the time they're done with you. You can put that on your resume, I guess. Or maybe you're having a charity golf tournament for a good cause, and you put up a sign, a cardboard cutout of the premier's face, actually, as has been done to many male premiers before on one of the holes. Same thing. Admonishing from the left and the right in a flurry of accusations against you in the mainstream media, including being labeled a violent, misogynist, hunker down friend. This is going to be your new reality for a little bit. That is, unless you're a well-connected NDP surrogate. Last week, an NDP surrogate named Duncan Kinney of a left-wing advocacy group called Progress Alberta gave a speech at the Alberta Federation of Labor's annual convention. In that speech, Kinney said, and I'm quoting, "We are the organization that kicks conservatives in the teeth," end quote. The official AFL Twitter account even tweeted that part of Kinney's speech as though it were some great rallying point in the Alberta labor movement. In fairness, Kinney explained his comments as part of a greater point he was making. He said to Metro Edmonton, and I'm quoting here again, "After that, I detailed campaigns and efforts we'd undergone in order to show how effective we are as an independent nonprofit organization. What we referenced directly after that was not instances of violence, but instances where we used facts to bring conservative politicians down a peg," end quote. So Kinney wants to make the point that there is a greater context to his remarks about kicking conservatives in the teeth. Okay, fine. I'll take him at his word. It wasn't literal. I'll be fair in a way that is never afforded to our side, because would a conservative ever be able to explain away a single clumsy phrase that rolled out of their mouth as part of a bigger picture and everyone would just be fine with it? Yeah, right. Let's stop and imagine what the mainstream media and the NDP would do to Ezra Levant if he said he was going to kick Rachel Notley in the teeth. Oh boy. The CBC would have called in a third shift of hand-wringers to man the panel scolding us. We would have been denounced in the legislature and the House of Commons by every single politician on the left and on the right. They'd be tripping over each other to do it. And dozens, maybe hundreds of articles would have been written labeling us as the worst thing since Hitler. Basically, we'd be treated like every other conservative that speaks impolitely when they speak out against the government. Instead, here, it took 5 days for just one media outlet to write the only story on Kinney's comments out there. Metro Edmonton, one tiny story. But this isn't really that great of a comparison because at the Rebel, we aren't linked to anyone. We are fiercely independent. And Progress Alberta, well, I'm not sure that they can say the same thing. Just watch.
So I'm very pleased to be here on traditional Treaty 6 territory and to be the one bringing you greetings on behalf of our entire government caucus, so many of whom are here today. It's an honor to have an opportunity to speak to the members of the AFL and to join you at your 50th annual convention.
Yeah, according to Alberta Primetime, the NDP once referred them to Kinney for NDP comments for their show. And you know what? After Rick McIver asked the Deputy Premier that question, where she refused to hold her own side to account according to the rules they write for everyone else, the AFL Twitter account deleted their tweet that quoted Kinney. And on the AFL's official YouTube page, convention speeches before and after Kinney have been posted, but not Kinney's. They're trying to memory hole this whole thing. So I started sending emails. My first was to the AFL. Surely, the head of the AFL, Gil McGowan, who has been so quick to pop off in the media complaining about political violence and rhetoric after the golf course sign fiasco, had something to say about Kinney. I also wanted to know why that AFL tweet was suddenly deleted and why Kinney's speech wasn't up on YouTube. And this was one of the questions I sent. Given AFL's past comments denouncing what AFL perceived to be violence directed at politicians, why have there been no comments from AFL leadership denouncing Kinney's comments? I was predictably ignored. So then I thought I'll send emails to the two NDP ministers who were at the AFL convention. Christina Gray, who has complained about the tone and nature of political speech in Alberta in the past, and Shay Anderson, who thought standing in the same space with a mad farmer amounted to something he described as extremely violent and brutal during the Bill 6 rallies. Both emails I sent were exactly the same and characteristically polite. I asked, could you please direct me to the minister's official statement, if any, with regard to Kinney's suggestion that his organization kicks Conservatives in the teeth? If there is no official statement available, why not? Particularly given the minister's outspokenness against violent political rhetoric in the past. I thought it was a pretty reasonable question. And then I spent all of World Press Freedom Day being ignored by NDP press secretaries, one of which, ironically, used to be a journalist for Post Media. I tried to get you answers. The NDP just don't have them. Honestly, I don't actually care about Duncan Kinney. I don't even care what he said. He says it was rhetorical and I believe him. I mean, do you think he's going to be kicking anyone in the teeth? It's clearly a rhetorical flourish. I mean, our side is farmers, rig hands, parents, coal miners, blue-collar workers, and job creators. His side is baristas, gender study majors, pampered public sector employees, and the otherwise unemployable, but I repeat myself there. I'm not sure his revolution is one he actually wants. I'm not the speech police, but what I do care about is the hypocrisy of the NDP with their rules for us that they don't follow themselves. And I care about how the mainstream media lets the NDP get away with this double standard, and how the mainstream media have double standards of their own. The mainstream media treats Conservatives like dirt, and in particular, regular Conservative Albertans who aren't even politicians, but just have an opinion too. But it's not all doom and gloom. On the upside, as long as the mainstream media keeps treating regular people like garbage and uses their attack stories on normal people as their audition for a job with the NDP, the Rebel business model remains intact. For the Rebel.media, I'm Sheila Gunn-Reid. If there's one thing that I cannot stand about the mainstream media in Canada, it's how they treat regular people who dare to step outside the progressive bubble, which is why the Rebel exists. To never miss a story, be sure to subscribe to our new Rebel Canada YouTube page.